Recently, I observed that I have quite a couple of friends that are going into sewing and we're not together. You know, we are divided by distance, and I hope that through this kind of project, like the basic bodies, the basic skirt bodies and like that, I hope that it can help them as well as help you too, and of course help me too. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to draft a bodice with bust dots, and I hope that you will find this video helpful and stick around until the end.
The first thing to do is take down all the required measurement that you'll be needing for this project, and if you need to pause the screen, you can do that and take your measurement, and now we can get to it. From the top of the paper, I measure my desired length from the top to the hem, which is 25 for me, and the width of this rectangle is half of my bust measurement because it's the largest part of the bodice, which is 36 divided by 2, that is 18, and I included 1 inch for ease. And I further divided into 2 so that one becomes the center front and the other the center back. You can pick whichever side is up to you, but that is my center front and back. Starting with the center front, we're going to put in half of our shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 16 and I divide that into 2, so that is 8. And I do the same thing on the center back. Just like that. Now we need to draw our chest line, and we do that by dividing our bust circumference into 6 and adding 1.5 to that. And I further add 1.5, which I'm going to use as the shoulder slope, and when I do that, it gives me a 9. And so I'm going to mark my 9 down there and draw a straight line from the front to the center back, and that's going to be our chest line. Next, I'm going to include my bust point. From the shoulder to my bust point, this is something you measure on your body, and for me it's 10.5. And of course it doesn't apply to the center back unless you have boobs behind you. Okay. The next measurement is the shoulder to the waist, and for me is 16 for this project, and I'm just going to mark it on the center front like this and just put it right there. For the back, I'm going to raise it up by about 2 inches from the front waistline. It probably looks like it's not going to match, but once we're done with this project, you will find out that it aligns perfectly and it works just fine. Now for the hem of the center back, is going to be shorter as well, so I'm going to make it 23 inches from the top all the way down. Remember that I drew the initial line to be 25, so the length of the center front is 25, while for the center back it's 23. And this is just all going to make sense, so in the meantime, just work with this. To determine the width of your neckline, you just divide your bust circumference into 12, and when I do that, 36 divided by 12, I have 3. So the width is 3 by 3 for the front. And I'm going to do the same thing for the back, except the depth of the back neckline is not going to be 3. I'm just going to
come down by like 1 inch. The center front, and this is the center back chest line, which is common to both waistline, bust point, and the hem. I'm just going to use my French curve to like put in whatever kind of neckline I want. And I'm going to do the same for the back. The next thing I want to do is from the bust point and from the chest line at the back, I'm going to pick my bust point, which is going to be something that you measure on your body. Okay, for me it's 8, so I'm going to put just half of that here and bring it all the way to the waistline. Then I'm going to repeat the exact same thing, except from here I'm going to start from the back. Oops. Okay, and now I'm going to take in the dots, which is like 1 inch. So I'm like going to take out ½ inch from both ends on the waistline. ½ inch here and ½ inch here, and I just do the same to the front. Dots are essential because they kind of like give fitting to the dress, and what I want to do is from here connect it up to the chest line, and I'm going to use a smaller ruler and do the same here. I'm going to do that at the bottom as well. So from here all the way down, and I'm going to move my ruler and do the same thing over here. I just do the exact same thing here. So here, all the way from here to the bottom. Now let us come back to the top. From here, we're going to take our shoulder slope. Let's use 1.5. I see that it sits better. And I'm going to extend this line. Remember that this is half of the shoulder measurement. I'm just going to extend it to touch the chest line just before. Okay, just right there. And I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch. And I'm just going to do the same at this other side. Right? For the back, we come down by 1 inch. 1 inch is enough. Now what you want to do next is connect this to this, from the nape of the neck touching this line here. And we'll just do the exact same thing over here, right? The next thing we want to do is shape the armhole. To do that, I'm just going to measure from here to here and find halfway between that and place a mark for the back. So I have like 8 inches here. I'm going to take a 4 there, and on that mark, just to give it a little bit of fitting, we're going to go in by 1/2 inch. For the front, however, we're just going to come up from the chest line, just raise it up by 2 inches and move in by 0.75, somewhere here. Part to this, just like this, and connect this part to this. So we're missing this part here. To do that, on the chest line, we're going to put in half of our bust, and that is like a 9 for me, right? So that is going to help you draw your armhole. I put my 9 here, and from the center front, I did the center back, I did the same. I just put my 9 here, and now I can create my curve. All right, I think something like this, really. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Remember that this mark is helping me here. So I just like to shape my curve until it's going to be more of continuous with this line here. So I just do that. And this is what I have. It looks good so far. So the next thing we want to do now is put in the waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 30, or so I like to claim. If I do my 30, and I'm going to factor the fact that I've taken my waist dot here. So if I divide 30 by 4, I'm going to have a 7.5. I'm going to include this dot that I already opened. I'm going to have an 8.5 right here. So I'm going to put it right here. And you do the same here, except you're going to use this to make a corset. So I'm going to make this bodice to fit the body more properly or more tightly, and that is why on the waistline here I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. If this block was just for a shirt, I don't have to do that, but I'm doing it here. And what I want to do is probably just transfer this mark here, this 4 inches here, and now I can connect this waist dot. This is just to help it lie properly on the back, and you don't have a bulge. You know, that ugly bulge that no dressmaker likes to have on their dress. No wearer even likes to have it either. And then from here I can connect it all the way down to the hem. Now my measurement is going to begin from here, okay? So now I'm going to take my 8.5 here. That's 7.5 first for my waist measurement, and then 1/2 inch for 1 inch or so in allowance, or for the dad, sorry. And I'm going to connect from the chest line to the waist. All right, so now I can do that. And the same thing, I'm going to do it right here. And now this is for my upper hip. I decided to use 9.5. So I'm going to mark 9.5 here. Remember that I had 9.5 here and here. But if you are bigger, you know, you have more hip, you want to make sure that your first square is bigger than this. That way you can extend your line. For me, I know that 9.5 just ends right here, and so from here I'm going to connect it all the way down. My sister says I have no hip at all. I do not believe that to be true, but I do know that I do not have plenty of it. So Alright, I'm going to put in my bust dart here. And how do I put in my bust dart? I'm going to just come down from the bust line 2 inches down, which is the difference between here, the half length, and the front. So these two here, I'm going to bring it up there. And once I do that, I can connect it to the bust point. Just like that. And now this is ready, and by the time that I will close this, and this is just going to align with this, and everything is going to be perfect. What I do that works for me, if I didn't want it to have the bust dart, one thing I do is to make it equal. Okay, that's what I do, and that works well for me too. So this works for me when I'm trying to do like a corset or this kind of blouses. Otherwise, I just do it without a bust point and then align my waist here and here. And this is what we're going to manipulate and create our corset with. Thank you so much for watching this video.